This is my friend James. I'm Lee. We are here together on the Unlearning Channel. James, the title of your book is Unseen, and I also kicked around the idea of calling this the Unseen Channel, which kind of has the implication that nobody's going to watch it, which may be the case. It maybe is a very fitting name, but for right now, we're the Unlearning Channel because we want to talk about things that we have learned that we don't want to have learned anymore. We want to unlearn those
Good
things.
way to put it.
We've, learned so many things that have infiltrated our hearts and minds and beliefs and have caused us to believe things that are not true and right. And they've really caused a lot of damage to us.
And you were talking about how the damage that can be done by things that we believe that aren't true.
Hmm.
The worst damage is the damage we do to ourselves by the things that we believe as true that aren't, and
Hmm.
we don't know it.
Hmm.
And that applies to 100% of people. Every one of us has learned, our learning began before we came out of the womb. And these things stay with us for a long, long time. In fact, they stay with us until we unlearn what we've learned.
Hmm.
But since everything that we have learned we're sure is true, we don't question it.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, here we are at our age, Lee. I'm
Hmm.
quite a bit older than you, but both of us have learned a volume of stuff and we've never questioned it.
Hmm.
So we don't even know what we know. We
Hmm.
don't even know all the things that we've learned. Yet, because we have believed those things, we are living like they're true. And so every one of us, to some degree, is living a lie
Hmm.
because everything that we've learned, we're sure is true. I
Hmm.
mean, mom and dad taught us, our teacher taught us, we taught ourselves.
World confirms it.
Yeah, the world, yeah,
Yeah.
our emotions confirm it too.
Yeah, how we feel confirms it.
That's been a major thing for me is dealing with the fact that I can know absolutely because God has shown me that something is true, and yet my emotions and my experience are totally contradictory to what God has shown me is true.
Hmm.
What do I do with that?
Also, when we know something, if it gets challenged, we'll fight to the death,
Yes.
defend it. It could be something that hurts us, that
Yeah.
is actively not good for us, and we know it's not good for us, and we'll still not consciously fight to the death for it, not consciously defend it, uh, but just instinctively. If somebody's pushing back against the fact that I don't like myself and saying, no, I do like you, then I'm gonna, whoa, no, 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 you can't. You can't like me because I'm not likable. So why would you
Yeah.
like? That doesn't make any sense. I may want them to like me, but I can't accept it because it's hitting that thing that in me is saying, but nobody can like me because I'm not likable.
I had a book I got many, many years ago that had a profound effect on me, and to this day, what I learned in that book. And it was simply a book by William Backus, a psychologist, and it was called Telling Yourself the Truth. And his supposition was that we lie to ourselves, we believe these lies, and that affects our emotions, it affects our behavior, it affects our thinking, it affects everything
Mm.
simply because we are telling ourselves constantly things that aren't true. Back then, a doctor had diagnosed me as manic depressive or bipolar. I mean, and this has been decades ago. And that book literally ended my bipolar experience because I learned about all the things that I was saying to myself that were literally causing my emotional up and down. And I was a case to live with. I mean, my family had a lot of problems with me. I was never an abusive person except to myself.
Hmm.
And as I began to learn the things that I was saying to myself that were causing me to have these violent emotional fluctuations, I was freed
Yeah.
because I learned to not say to myself things that weren't true and to say to myself things that were true
Mm.
that God said about me.
Hmm.
Of course, the problem is that if you're a Christian, many Christians know the terrible things that God says about them all the time, quote
Right.
unquote. God doesn't say anything terrible about anybody, but if they are sure that God says
Oh.
terrible things about them all the time and they start repeating those things to themselves, then they end up in a position mentally that is not good.
Your family was having a hard time with you, but it was you abusing yourself. But I can only imagine if they're trying to love you and you hate you and are abusing you, then how good are you going to be to somebody who's clearly lying to you about you being valuable and important? You're going to go at them and say, you don't get it. Like I'm no good. You're trying to trick me or something, and that's gonna cause like you because you said you weren't abusive, and I know, and I don't think you were, and I went through the same thing with my family where I was just we'll go in later videos. I'm sure we'll unpack some of our own stuff. But yeah, I was in a spot where, yeah, they were coming to me and looking for love. And I was just like, why are you coming to me? Like, I'm awful. I'm the worst.
Yeah.
So how are you going to get that from me? And they weren't, so it wasn't abusive, but it was too. Because we were abused, we were like, I'm abusing others, not out of I'm punching you or, stealing from you or something, but just out of that outpouring of who we were or thought we were, and believed we were.
Well, the thing about the abusing, until you said it just now, I had never really thought about it because I was not physically abusive,
Right,
wasn't even verbally abusive,
right.
and yet, in a sense, I was because I would I would be so emotional about things. My family had to walk on eggshells around me. I wasn't pleasant and I wasn't loving,
Hmm.
and my family loved me, but if
Hmm.
you got in the way of my business, then I would be angry.
Hmm.
And I'm going to have to talk to them about that and find out
Yeah, you
because
might need to apologize. Yeah.
that's
I
amazing.
talked to Sandra, your wife. I've talked to her
Yeah.
uh, a few times, and she's confirmed that. Again, never said, yeah, never smacked us or whatever. But yeah, just he was a tough guy to live with, and I know that without being, physical, just that walking on eggshells. I
Yeah,
do know, and people can pick it up. You know, when you're in a room with somebody, I shouldn't probably talk to this person.
yeah. But the thing that's so amazing is they watched me change.
Hmm.
They watched what happened that started the change and they observed it and they it it came to a point where they literally embraced everything I was learning because they saw the immense change in my personality and in my emotions and in my behavior.
Yeah, that change, that same thing happened to me. And I remember my son, it was at a time, right? It was a year before my divorce. And my son came to me later and said that the divorce was so devastating to him because our house felt so much more peaceful. And he just got so blindsided by a divorce happening because he just knew that the environment of the home, the spirit of the home had changed, had shifted.
So this was after you began to change. after all of our meetings and you would change and so then the divorce your home had become more peaceful
Yeah,
and but the divorce because your wife was not really happy with the changes. Uh,
right, right.
and okay, so that's I just
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And he was just so blindsided by it because
it didn't make
that
sense.
yeah, because it didn't make sense because that same thing happened to me where it was kind of this cloud over me a lot of the time, not all the time, again, just like you, it was never, shoving or yelling or anything like that. It was just a cloud. And kind of a mask, just a pretending, just a surface level, like let's just not rock the boat or whatever. And then, yeah, after experiencing all the changes, of the truth, replacing a lot of lies, um, yeah, he just noticed that it was a different environment. And he felt safe. He felt protected. He felt loved by me. And
Wow.
I did. I
You
mean, I loved him and protected him before, but it was almost, I think, probably because I was like supposed to. That's awful. It sounds awful, we think, for a parent to say, but that's what we're doing on this channel is there isn't anything awful. There's the things that are and were and have happened or didn't happen, and then the impact and the effect and what we do with it and where we go from there. And so, yeah, I wasn't, yeah, I never yelled in the house or anything, but he just saw this piece that wasn't there before and felt it.
you'd never shared that with me. That's
Um, yeah, he
pretty
only told
cool.
me maybe just a few years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And then, yet, still afterwards, even after the divorce, he struggled, but there was still peace in the house and it was still hard. And again, back to the first video and things that we've talked about, it doesn't make things not hard. Like,
Yeah.
doesn't make things go easy. It just makes us more capable and peaceful and loving throughout the things that happen in life.